Us to rise for a pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk, can you please take the roll?
George Matuk, Tony Aiken, Moyedin Ibiemi, Travis Escobar,
Here.
Knight Jean Boy Higambo,
Present.
Tyrell Stevens.
Present.
You have a quorum.
With that, I'd like to pass it off to the superintendent for his comments.
Thank you, Vice President Escobar. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Vice President Escobar, school board members, and the Providence public school community. As the holiday breaks approaches, I want to thank and applaud the hard work our students, teachers, staff, families have made the commitment to make sure that we strive for the attendance. At this point, we have had double-digit decrease in chronic absenteeism, so I think that's a round of applause. And this is in almost all of our schools, so let's keep pushing forward with enthusiasm and pride in the work that we're doing. First, I also want to say thank you to the students of the Student Advisory Council for joining me and my team so we can listen and hear their stories. We had over representation of 17 students from 17 different PPSD schools. They expressed the differences in areas that they would like to work on together, such as mental health, school safety, racism, bullying, as well as scholarships and leadership opportunities. I was proud to be in the room with them as we was having these conversations. I would also like to share that last week, I had the privilege to be at a ribbon cutting at the Spagiano Elementary School with Governor Dan McKee, Rye Commissioner Infante Green, Mayor Smiley, School Board Vice President Escobar, along with members Tyrell Stevens and Najee Mahingamu, also the City Councilor Ana Vargas, and the wonderful staff and students. So many people, including our board members, played the pivotal role in making this school a reality. So I want to say thank you to everyone that was there. The $44 million investment dedicated to the construction of Spagiano Elementary School underscores the commitment to providing high-quality, modern learning environments for our students in Providence. We are going to continue on this path until all of our students are in a 21st century learning environment where they can thrive. We also happy to report that the Providence City Council voted and approved on the PPSD construction application that can lead to a bonding of an additional $400 million for next year to create more 21st century schools. So remember, these are for building schools, new or like new schools. In addition, last week, I was at Nathaniel Green Middle School. I want to say go Bucks. Yes. It was great to be there to speak in front of almost 200 students and their families. They were honoring their first quarter honor roll celebration. Special thanks to Senator Jacob Bazillion, Councilwoman Graves, for joining us and addressing the students and families. Last Friday, we communicated with Gilbert Stewart Middle School's 6th and 7th grade families that we will be accelerating the closure of Gilbert Stewart School. As you can recall, that last year, the Providence Public School shared that we will be closing Gilbert Stewart in 2025 as part of the plan for investment of $600 million in schools facilities and place the students and teachers in the new or like new schools. We have been monitoring and listening to the feedback that they have given us, and we're accelerating the timeline to know Gilbert Stewart will be closing at the end of this year, 23-24. There will be no effect to the 8th grade students. So I want to make sure that that's clear, and I'm going to explain why I'm saying that. As a former principal, I know that building a community in schools is really important, and I want to make sure that our students stay together. So one of the things that we're looking at is how do we keep our students together when we make this decision of closing Gilbert Stewart, because we are going to be building a new facility there. The plan is that the 6th and 7th grade students will follow if they're in their dual language program. Those students will follow the teachers and the students will be going to Roger Williams Middle School. The students who are newcomers, they will also be going along with their teachers over to Hopkins Middle School. And then the remaining students and teachers will be going over to the Cecil Middle School. However, those students who are going to the Cecil School, if the parents feel that this is that they don't want that school, that they want another school, they will have preference as to which other school there's an availability at another school that we choose to go to. Those students will have the opportunity. Teachers that will be moving over to the Cecil Middle School will also have the opportunity to apply for any positions within the district. I would like to briefly mention that Alvarez School, I know this has been on the media coverage regarding Alvarez High School. I want to say that many of you know that it was built on the site, which was the former Gordon Manufacturing Company. And due to the location in the site, there has been continuous monitoring in the building to check for any toxic chemicals. We will continue to monitor and update the school community for the testing results. The last test results shared was in November 28, 2023 with the faculty as well. We expect another round of testing update by the end of the week. The laboratory also results samplings from certain rooms at the George Alvarez indicated no exceeding of contaminants, and as of is stated in the 2009 RIDEM levels and the RIDO standards conveyed to PPSD. So at this point, we're monitoring, we're double checking, making sure that the levels are where they need to be and they're improving. But we will continue to remediate that and making sure that we stay on top of it. It's not something that is just done with PPSD. It's like as I stated, this is being also looked over by RIDO and also the DEM. As we know, according to the Rhode Island Department of Health, based on what we know about the conditions at Alvarez School, there isn't at this point anything to be thinking about in reference to that it's not safe for the teachers or the students to be there. And a little bit of the housekeeping that I have in mind right now is also that students will be receiving their school choice form in January to make decisions for the 2024 school year. Also coming in January will be the Korean Technical Education application. We have over 20 exciting CTE programs across all schools for the Providence students. So keep an eye open for the new year that these applications and forms are coming out. And with that, I want to say happy holidays to everyone from PPSD.
Thank you. And with that, I'm going to entertain a motion to approve the agenda. Motion by Mr. Stevens. Second by Mr. Mahmoud. Any discussion on the agenda? With no discussion, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say no. Abstention. Motion passes on the agenda. Next is the approval of the consent agenda. Can I get a motion? Motion. Second. Any discussion? All those in favor of approving the agenda, consent agenda say aye. Aye. All opposed say no. Abstention. Motion passes. We are now going to move on to recognitions. I'm gonna let the superintendent go on, and this is great, right? We get to celebrate folks and for a lot of accomplishments. So
Okay. Can we, members of the school board, can we go on the other side of the podium here?
Good evening. Tonight, I have the pleasure of celebrating the retirement of two of the beloved team members from Student Support Services. We celebrate the service of two remarkable women tonight, Susan Chin and also Donna O'Connor. As Senior Director of Nursing, Health, and Physical Education, Donna O'Connor has served students, families, and staff for 29 years. She is a passionate advocate with a strong love for her community. Donna has brought numerous programming initiatives and grants to PPSD to support health services, particularly nursing, physical, and health education. As Executive Director of Early Childhood Education, Sue Chin has served students, families, and staff for over 36 years. She has served PPSD in numerous roles, such as Elementary Network Superintendent, Executive Director of Elementary Schools, Principal, and countless others. Sue is patient, caring, supportive, and knowledgeable, and always puts students and families first. It is because of Sue's direct leadership skills and coaching that she has directly influenced many leaders in their leadership styles, including myself. I know Dr. Martinez, and I saw another principal in the back. So tonight, we have numerous citations to honor Donna and Sue. The following citations will be presented to each of our retirees. The City of Providence citation from Mayor Brett Smiley, the City of Providence citation from the Providence City Council, and lastly, the PPSD School Board. Donna unfortunately could not join us tonight due to a conflict and previous commitment, but she sends her deepest thanks and gratitude. Tomorrow I will take a field trip and deliver the citations to her. And however, at this time, if I know she is not here, but if we could please recognize her
absolutely.
and her years of service
Absolutely.
and dedication. Next, if Sue Chin could please come up and receive her citations. Sue retired in June, but she's been back full time, so I don't know if it's really retirement. We just won't let her go.
Sue Chin, in recognition of your dedication and service from 1987 to 2023 to the families, children, and staff of the Providence Public School, it is with great honor for all that you have taught many of us in the many years. I want to say thank you. And even though you think that you're retired, you're still here with us, and you will continue to be here with us and helping guiding us. Thank you for all you have done for all our families and all of us. And here we'll have the state of Rhode Island citation, and also from the citation from the mayor's office. These are all yours. You deserve all of these and everything else that comes along with it. I will always say, take your little vacation, but you know you're always coming back home. Thank you. Thank you. But I also want to recognize Donna O'Connor, because even though she's not here, she's here. She's part of the fabric and everything we've done for so many years. So I want to recognize Donna O'Connor in your dedication and service since 1994 to 2023 to the families, children, and staff of the Providence Public School. If I can say a few words about Donna, who has taught us so much, who was with us at the most valuable times that we needed someone to stay here and work with us, especially working through the COVID. I can't tell you the work and dedication that Donna has put forth for all of us. If it wasn't for Donna and her team, I guarantee you that we would have been in a worse place than we were during the COVID. So please, even though she's not here, I want her to feel the love that we have for her and give her a big round of applause. And she as well has 3 citations delivered tomorrow.
Yes, field trip. It really has been a pleasure to work closely with Donna and Sue over the 25 years that I've been here. As sad as our families to see her go and they start their new chapter, we're really not letting them go. As you know, Donna will also be coming back, once she has a little time off. So luckily, I've been able to get them, like I said, to agree to come back. We want to thank them for their willingness to do so. However, thank you to the school board for giving me this opportunity to celebrate these really 2 amazing educators who are not leaving, but are kind of leaving. So thank you, everybody.
Definitely here.
Yes, sure. Oh, let me.
There you go. get glasses.
Yeah.
So they want to. Great, thank
Thank
you.
you. Congratulations. No, we're gonna do the next one. Okay. 4.1. 4.1. So I think we stay here for 4.2. 4.2, I'm sorry. Yes, yes. Let's take that.
Good evening, everyone. As you might, sorry. There you go, is that better?
Yes.
Good evening, everyone. So we have the honor of being here this evening to honor our amazing parents who have filled this room with their amazing families. The parents that we have attending school board this evening have completed a 5-week Parent Leadership Academy training. In this training, they have come together to learn not just advocacy skills to support their child at home and in school, but also valuable leadership skills that are going to empower them to become parent leaders and advocates in their community, in school, and city. So we are very proud to recognize them today. They will be graduating on Saturday, so we have a full ceremony. You are all invited and welcome to come, but I think they are very deserving of this a small token of appreciation for stepping up and dedicating 5 straight Saturdays with us at the Family and Community Engagement Office to be the better, to be the best they can be for their children. I witnessed the joy. I also witnessed the tears on occasions of these 5 Saturdays that we spent together. And many of them oftentimes said, you know, I'm here because I want to be the best parent I can be for my child. And I'm here to tell you that you are the best parent for the child. The simple fact that you took the time to step up, you filled out the application, you went through a screening process, you went through an interview process, and you completed this, the training with us, you are the parent that that child deserves. And we are very proud to honor you this evening.
So we'll be calling you to come up and take a picture. So Alba Vasquez.
Congratulations.
Barbara Isaac Court.
Just stay there because we're gonna take a group picture.
Congratulations. Claudia Núñez.
There you go. There you go.
Oh, I was supposed to look at the camera. Congratulations. I'm sorry, I'm taking that.
Congratulations.
Fernanda Aguilar.
Congratulations.
There we go. There we go. There we go. There we go.
Inés Díaz.
Congratulations.
Kiara Black.
Congratulations.
Right. There you go.
Thank you. Luis Tobar. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Give me a week. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Felicidad.
Pauline Costa.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Big smiles. They all come up here with big smiles.
That's great. Thank you. Oriolua, Elidua.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Paula Hernández.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Felicidades.
Talcidi.
That's what I'm talking about.
Talcidi Adeu.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Vanessa Milord.
Congratulations. How you doing? Doing good? Nice to see you.
Thank you. And Venera Connor.
Congratulations.
Oh,
Yes.
Thank you.
yes.
Right
That's
here.
good, yeah.
Stay up here, stay up here. You can have some in the bottom. Yes.
We want Louis in the middle.
Wow, you're always on the spot. Thank you. It's all about you. We're okay back here. There you
See
go.
everybody. Can I have a few people like here?
Come on, Louis.
Yeah, Louis.
That's it. Hey, this is hard work.
Sorry.
Hey, watch it now.
Don't jinx it. Don't jinx it. No. Into the camera. No risk.
Thank you. Okay, so now we are going to move to public comment. First person on public comment is Pilar McLeod.
Good evening. So as I stated in October when I came to the school board meeting, I was going to come back to every school board meeting until the issues were resolved. You will find in front of you, if you don't have already, emails that were sent from myself, Mr. Raymond Watson, who is behind me. There are some emails from Providence, REJC, the Rhode Island Environmental Justice Committee, of which I am a part of, both the committee as well as Providence. We have some questions. Number one, I had a conversation, myself, Diana Garlington, and Mr. Raymond Watson at United Way on Zoom with your school board president, your chair, as well as your superintendent. At the time, the school board president, Mr. Erlen Rogel, stated, oh, if you have any comments, concerns, anything, suggestions, recommendations, send them to us. I stated, please look in your email. You already have it. I sent it already. That was 30 days ago. We received no response. The comment says, public comment, right to be heard. Not only do I have a right, we, the community, have a right to be heard, we have a right to have a response once we are asking the question. We asked several questions in the email. We made several statements during the 1 hour Zoom conversation that we had. However, none have been addressed. None have been responded. Providence, REJC, is very concerned with the things going on in Alvarez as we study air quality, especially on the south side of Providence. As being a member, as someone who has done environmental justice, as we know, racism strikes every ism. From environmental to healthcare to education to housing, there is no stone left unturned when it comes to racism. We are appalled that Alvarez High School has not been at the top of your agenda and the top of your list during previous school board meetings. And it seems as if since the emails have been sent this week, now it is being addressed. We, the community, are tired. I will be back January of 2024, and I will come every month and make public comment until we, the community, are addressed. We are heard and given the respect as we have the right to be heard. We also have the right, and we have earned the right to be respected and have a response. Have a good evening.
Next up, we have Raymond Two Hawks Watson.
That is to say, good evening, friends. How are you doing? Raymond Two Hawks Watson. Amongst other things, chief of the Meshipog Nahiganta tribe, a product of the Providence school system, and a concerned Providence member. I want to first of all echo Pilar's comments. We did have a meeting. We did hear that there would be some follow-up, and I personally haven't received anything. So just wondering what's going on here, because it's my understanding that the people on this board receive compensation for being here. So it's not being done out of the good of your heart. You're being paid to be here. So we expect professionalism from everyone on this board, and it seems to be sorely lacking in certain regards. I came here 2 months ago, and I was kind of floored because I walked in. I'm not sure if it's still the policy, but I was told that I couldn't speak because I didn't sign up by email beforehand. Absurd. We're not in COVID anymore. Why are you requiring people to sign up beforehand by email? You just honored a bunch of parents for taking time out of their busy schedules to do extracurricular things to show their commitment. Yet, if they were to do the same thing and come here to be able to speak on an issue that they're concerned about, you tell them that they couldn't speak because they didn't sign up by email in advance. So I think that policy needs to go. I don't know if it's still in play, but I do expect that by the January meeting, it'll be out of play, because I understand it. It's not a law, it's just a policy you all have here, and your policy shouldn't be in place to keep parents from coming and giving their remarks. The other issue I have is that when I came here, I came specifically to hear what was going on with the gun situation at the middle school, which is right up the street from where I live. I live right on Hartford Avenue, Docesto. You all went into executive session. That blew my mind, because I didn't understand what was being discussed about that situation that required you all going into executive session. And then I haven't heard anything about it after. So being that I live right on Hartford Avenue, was it one of the kids that walked by my house every day that was walking with the gun? Who did they have an issue with? and more importantly, what was done about it. Pilar's upset, I'm upset. I brought my son here. I've got lots of kids that are in the Tri-Dye or in the Providence Public Schools, and I'm a product of them. I know just how horrible this school system can be to its children. So I expect, I'm not hoping, I'm not here to tell you that we deserve it. You all took these positions, you get compensated. I expect to have proper responses and have engagement from you all when we come here, take time out of our busy schedules to raise issues for you. And lastly, I'll say this, my people are from the Mashapog Pond. That pond is completely contaminated. Please don't insult us by telling us there's no health issues at Alvarez. We don't want to hear it. It should be at the top of the list. Once again, I'll be back in January with Pilar, hoping to hear something productive from you all as you all took an oath to be productive for us, the community. Thank you for listening.
Next up, we have Shannon McLeod. Shannon McLeod? No Shannon McLeod? Okay, we'll move on to Kaden Arana.
Hi everyone. My name is Kaden Arana. I am a senior at Costco High School. I'm here today with my peers from OSPBD or our school's Providence to present you with our campaign on ethnic studies. I'm just going to talk about my experience with ethnic studies. So I did a 2-week course with one of a youth-led organization from Arise, who is Arise. And honestly, I feel like ethnic studies should be incorporated more into Providence schools. We went on a lot of adventures, field trips, and I've learned so much, about stuff that I haven't even learned in school, and still till this day, still haven't learned at all at classical. So anyways, ethnic studies should be incorporated because one, it's a hands-on class. Students can get hands-on, they could go anywhere in person to learn about any part of their state, because I know students don't know much about their own state. They also can go on a lot of field trips where they could learn more about themselves, but not only that, but the history of themselves. And it's also a family thing. Me growing up, I've never asked my family where I come from or what my family did as in the past to get me here. So I feel like ethnic studies really brings on family time together, and students can interact with their family more. Other than that, we also had a little event for our school's Providence or OSBD, which was the I forgot what it's called, but it was a little event. I know the vice president did come over and watch the event and attend the event. So thank you for that, by the way. That's what I have.
Thank you. Next up, we have David Bella.
Howdy. My name is Favor Bello. I am also a senior at Classical High School, and I am also affiliated with Youth in Action that's right down Broad Street. So like my fellow peers said about OSPBD, is to implement ethnic studies in Providence Public Schools, Providence Public School District, and a good quote by Lenata Warjack, who is a member of the Third Ward Liberation Front and Native American student activist leader. They said, "It is very important to acknowledge us as a people with a culture and not to leave us without any kind of acknowledgement, because to keep us without any recognition or acknowledgement is to say that we don't exist, and we do." As we know, the curriculum is very not to sugarcoat it, whitewashed. And as we know, people of color did build America. And to go through, I've been in the public schools for 6 years, and to go through that without, the only time I learned about my people or people who look like me is anything that has to do with oppression, slavery, or them being beneath like the white man. And learning about that growing up, I feel like I can't like do anything as good as the white man, or I can't do anything as like productive, which, as we know, a lot of Black people and people of color have done a lot of great things in America that I feel like is not being, that we actually know and I feel like is not being taught as it should be in the Providence public schools. And the ethnic studies campaign is to put that in the curriculum and show people, and not just learn about the history of America, but like learn about the history of America and not leave anything out, or not sugarcoat anything, or not. Yes. Yeah. And what does ethnic studies look like for us? It looks like adequately trained and supported ethnic studies teachers. So the teachers should be trained, because this is not a course that you can just throw at any other teacher. This is a course that needs support. This is a course that needs guidance. And for teachers, like I said, to be trained and supported, more teachers of color each year, because due to my research and the research of ethnic studies, or CBD, Providence Public Schools is one of the most diverse districts in the state, but yet we don't have as many teachers of color as we should have, and we know there is a decrease in teachers and all, but we really need really need teachers of color, so at least students can see themselves reflected in who's teaching them. Ethnic studies curriculum that is integrated in K through 12, not just a course at your senior year, because right now I'm taking an ethnic studies course that's only a semester long, and that's only a semester long, but it shouldn't just be a course that's taken at your senior year. It should be through K through 12, like learning from authors that are people of color, ethnic names in school textbooks, just like seeing yourself in what you're learning. Project based and not test based, because how are you going to test someone on their ethnicity? And not everybody, as we know, is a good test taker. So like this being a project based curriculum, and students having leadership roles in designing and teaching this curriculum.
Really quick,
Yeah.
Mr. President, can I make a motion to extend her time?
Yeah, I was gonna allow her
Okay.
to finish, yeah. If you have more to say, we'll
Yes.
allow, yeah.
Motion? Does anybody second that? I'm also on the board. I'm using that too. What is our work this year? Our work is to developing the campaign and recruiting more people, and we have been having open meetings to like extend to youth that are not in the YLC, because YLC is like 2 reps from each org. So we've been having open meetings where every student from public schools can come and bring in their ideas and like what they would want to see. And now we're trying to get a group of people to come to you, but we're already here. So we're trying to get you on our side to go to the vice governor, and then get to Governor McKee to like implement this. And as I said, I do take an ethnic studies course, and just seeing and learning about my people, and learning about the state I'm in, and learning about the land I'm on, and just like learning the actual history and what actually happened, and not what happened sugar-coated and sorry to say, but the lies I've been taught. It's just like not only really powerful, and like it lets me know that I can do good things, we can do good things. And but I've also heard like a lot of like younger youth, like as young as like 5th graders, that have heard about this course and heard about this campaign, really excited. And we just really like, the first time I heard a 5th grader tell me that, oh, I'm really excited to learn about my people in America, because I never learned about my people in America, I almost cried. So it's just that, just learning about my people, not in the oppression way, not about slavery, and learn about the good things my people have done in America, is honestly probably one of the most like uplifting things I can learn in the Providence Public School District. And also having my voice heard in like decision makings about my curriculum. And like I said, I'm a senior now, so I wouldn't be here in the next 7 months. But like my big hope is that this work continues to move on, and like I come back in the next 4 years when I graduate college, and I ask my sister, because I have other 3 sisters in Providence Public School Department, and just ask them like what's going on. And like my hope and like demand is that this actually puts through, and you guys help us in this campaign and are on our side. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Next is Angel Eliza.
Hi, as you know, my name is Angel Solis, and I have written a few things regarding the topic of today, which is ethnic studies and the campaign I've been working for. Start to just restate the quote that my friend just said. You know, the quote speaks very closely to me. With all the years that I have studied, I felt that often I have not really seen my people or other people's represented in our history book until I took my first ethnic studies course last year. I've never felt so heard before, neither have I seen other people so compelled to learn more. With this, I have grown a passion to really have it implemented into our education. It provides critical thinking and understanding of other people's lives. It brings many into unison and allows those to truly understand why it's important to learn of not only themselves, but others. It brings upon many questions that are detrimental to our modern society. I say ethnic studies can be very beneficial in today's world, as we are all surrounded by different stories, perspectives, voices, experiences, and people. I also want to introduce OSPVD and talk about our work. OSPVD is a collective body made up of PPSD students and allies working together to take action in the name of education justice for PPSD. We have done immense research and have had a lot of dedication working towards helping students find their voice and have a say in what they want to see reflected in their curriculums. During these times, we have sent some people to other schools to help promote our cause. And with the help, we have also had a separate group collect and analyze data from the survey we have put out for students to fill out. With that, we have seen many patterns, especially the themes of students wanting change in the curriculums, in their teachers, histories, class engagement, and learning environments. And personally, I can say I agree with all the students' wants and needs. Change is a fundamentality to anything in this life. So I believe that changing the way educators teach students about their histories, the way educators teach students about topics in general, the way students learn, the way students participate in class will be beneficial for all. To continue and to reinstate, we have demands that I want to clarify. These demands are as follows. We demand that the ethnic studies course to be a graduation requirement, a core credit. We demand more teachers of color, at least up by 20% each year. We demand adequately trained and supported ethnic studies educators. We demand a project-based curriculum, not a text-based one, an expansive curriculum, not a repetitive one, a curriculum integrated into K through 12, and we demand to allow students to have leadership roles in designing, teaching, and evaluating the curriculum. With these demands in mind, I also want to let all of you know that I acknowledge that the school board isn't really responsible for making the decisions, as far as I know. But, you know, I mentioned these in hopes for all of you to help us further progress into our efforts. We want to have your support so that we can all together let, you know, my inspiration, Superintendent Montañez, Commissioner Angelica Infante Green, and Governor McKee know about our cause and to have them help us in our fight for not only ethnic studies, but for PPSD as a whole. Thank you very much.
One more individual listed on public comment. Is there anyone, before I call that individual, is there anyone else in the room that is there anyone else in the room that is here for public comment? Okay, so Joshua Franco.
Actually, I'm here in representation of Joseph E. Buchanan. First and foremost, I want to say thank you to everyone that came in today. In the words of the community, he specified to me to talk about the community right around us. We're talking about schools in the name of people from the community, like Juanita Sanchez. She was a social worker. Meanwhile, Charlotte Woods, she was one of the first Black commissioners. My point to you is, if we're going to be talking about a universal K-12 ethnic study group, we got to actually talk about the real history upon how the Black, the Spanish, the whites, the Asians, we're all together at one point, but there was a division that we don't see. Yes, we do talk about the oppression of slavery. Slavery happens in many forms. There's a lot of anti-Blackness in many communities. It's very disgraceful. Coming to the new school board members, congratulate you. Although we want you to support the community, not just work, support the community, uplift the community. And this is how you're gonna have to uplift the community. When we're looking at these schools, we gotta look at all different perspectives. That means looking at kids with 504s, IEPs. Because at the same time, there's kids falling through the cracks right now. That means there's no mental health, nor there's no safety concerns. Because at the same time, we're so focused inside the schools, we're not focused outside. That means alternative activities like sports, like arts and culturalism. So at the same time, we have to think about that, but also bring it back to our curriculum. Our curriculum needs to be updated. We need Black history, all Black history. Talking about how Taínos was there. Talking about how Africa was actually integrated. But also don't forget about our history. Because at the same time, during the 1970s, this city was desegregated under George Doyle. Please remember that. So all I'm asking for you is, as the board, in the words of Joseph P. Buchanan, to have a backbone. Because at the end of the day, we as a city don't have to report to the state. We as a city report to our community. So please remember that you don't just work for the tax dollar, you work for the community. We pay you out of our tax dollars to work. This is in the words of Joseph P. Buchanan. He will say this: God bless you all. He always loves y'all, but at the end of the day, he's gonna hold everyone accountable. Thank you.
No one else is here for public comment. And with that, thank you for everyone that showed up for public comment this evening. And with that, we move to school board member comment. Anyone? Yes.
I want to thank the students and every community member for coming and speaking up today. And to the student that spoke today, I will work with you and fellow board members to make sure we include studies are part of the curriculum. And also I wanted to address a little bit what's going on at Harvard High School. I'm concerned about the health of the students at Harvard High School. It seems as if the community contacted the board leadership and there's nothing been happening. I would like the health and awareness committee to take leadership on this. I will also able to work with Ms. Tony Akim to set up a meeting with the superintendent to address this. Thank you.
Other school board member comment.
Good evening, everyone. Wonderful input from the community tonight. We hope we can continue to have this because this is very instrumental. I just want to comment on, I think Angel said that he feels that the school board doesn't have any power when they make comments. It is yes, and it's also no. I'm going to say yes because the school board is an advisory capacity, no doubt. But at the same time, when you make these comments, the superintendent is listening. He has all his advisors and all the executive directors, and they're taking notes, and everybody's taking notes of what you guys are saying. I don't want you to be discouraged that because the school board doesn't have power there now, you can't continue to air what's of concern to you. So please feel free to echo your concerns because they are listening. And when you guys make comments and we don't see actions, we follow up with the superintendent. We're not going to compel the district to, force them to act. We're in advisory capacity, but we're here to try to let them listen to you and to act upon what you have recommended. So I really commend you on that. On the issue of the ethnic studies, this is my 9th year on the school board. If there's anything I passionately try to achieve, it is that curriculum. And I'm going to explain it. Not in terms of the way you explain it, but in terms of language inclusion, especially African language. We see there are 2 major languages, English and Espanol. But I've worked with 5 superintendents over the course of my 9 years. And one of the things that I've always emphasized is that we need to have a curriculum for a language, an African language. And I know I'm not speaking because I'm African, of African descent, but I think this is the one that is not equally represented. So, but you see what the superintendent that I spoke with the last time asked us to do is to let us know how we can get this done. So if you are advocating for ethnic studies, I think you need to do deeper efforts in trying to create a curriculum, in trying to and how do you create, I'm not asking you to create curriculum, but what you can do is to look at districts across the country where such courses are being held. If you present that to the superintendent, they're ready to listen to you because they know this is what is needed. So it's not only in terms of what the minorities have achieved, but in terms of one way to understand ourselves better is to hear our voices and see what we speak and what we mean by what we speak. So I hope the superintendent, just like Sue Chen and all those directors, this might be my last school board. I have another one. I'm going, but I'm not gone, especially when it comes to these ethnic studies. We want to make sure that we have it because this is a voice, this is something that is needed. And just like Bill said, the lady, that it shouldn't be a semester thing. I think it's something like, it's a rich curriculum. It's not something that can be taught over 3 months. It's something that will require a consistent. And so I wish you the best, and we will follow up to make sure it happens. So that's about my comment. I don't want to belabor ours. Thank you so much.
Any other speakers on the time? Ms. Stevens?
Good evening, everybody. Truly an honor to be here. Superintendent, my colleagues on the school board. I just want to applaud the young people today that had came out and spoke about ethnic studies. I think it's very important. I think me as a board member, wait a second. Hello, I like this one now. All right, I think me as a board member, it's important that I don't comment as it pertains to what I think it should be, but what I want to definitely do is if you guys would want me to, I want you to reach out to me. I'll leave my contact information and see where I can support you guys at. I think it's very important. Like my colleague said, Mr. Ibiemi, the superintendent is here. We do have access to him. All of you have access to him. So we definitely want to make sure that that's something that we push. I know that that's been a fight for a long time. So wherever you want me to fit in at, I'm definitely more than willing to step in and advocate. A lot of people might love to advocate. So just let me know. I also want to thank everyone that spoke out for public comment on tonight. Truly accept all of your concerns. All of you have my contact information, but I'm going to definitely try to do some groundwork to meet some of you guys' sort of responses that you guys want. So we'll definitely do that. I'll do that. Also, I wanted to acknowledge all of the parents that have gotten their certificates. Truly want to congratulate each and every one of you. Continue the hard work. I understand what parents go through. Me being a minority, went through the school system myself, seeing what different students' parents had to go through in students, and it's not an easy task. Being here and being from here and going to public schools, it's not easy for parents. There's sometimes parents are working 2 and 3 jobs. There's sometimes parents are working and they can't get here tonight to school board meetings to advocate for their children. A lot of the times, a lot of parents are undocumented. Not put my lips on that. Undocumented, and they're not able to, or they don't feel comfortable with advocating for their child's education. So whenever we're recognizing parents, I want to definitely be there and acknowledge the parents in that sort of capacity. If you ever need me, I'm always here. You can call the district and request my number, or I can give my email to any of you as well, including any board member here. So I want to congratulate all of you. I did have a chance to visit, what was it? Was it Spaziano? I'm sorry. It truly was an honor. I truly enjoyed that new facility. I think that it's important that we modernize all of our schools. I know our children at that school is definitely going to enjoy it. So I think that the school building committee is doing a good job. Mr. Matt Top, I see Melissa Hughes here on today, doing a great job in that capacity. And I want you guys to continue to advocate for schools. I know we have to go to the Stewart situation. I don't have too much information on it yet, so I'll be speaking with the district about that. The Alvarez situation, we know that that is a touchy situation as well, which I'll be speaking with the district again offline with that, and I'll come to January's meeting with a more sort of thought out response as it pertains to that and all of the different concerns that I heard on tonight. So I just want to tell everyone Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and I hope all of you have a great Happy New Year. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Stevens. Any other? I do want to say something quickly on ethnic studies. I did go to our school's PPD Ethnic Studies Festival. I had stated to the young people there that I made a promise that in the first quarter of next year, we'll be looking to pass a resolution to at least create a plan of implementing ethnic studies in Providence schools. So I said that at the event. I'm sharing that publicly in the school board meeting. And we're happy to work with fellow school board member colleagues in drafting that resolution and putting that forward and working with the district to see what we can do future on that issue. So just wanted to, and thank you for the youth that came here and testified. And just testifying here is pretty difficult to be able to do, but you all did a great job, and I appreciate your voice. With that, we're going to be moving on to policy committee updates. The policy committee, our chair person is not here, but the policy committee, really major update is we passed the school board code of conduct policy, which is going to be passed today. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to unless school board member Aiken would like to state anything about policy.
Thank you, Vice President. Yes, I think the Code of Conduct of the School Board Initiative is an excellent campaign, and I think it's great. I think it's just an honor to be here with all of you. We have an excellent school board here, and I think it just solidifies our commitment to the work that we do, and I think that it's a great initiative. Thank you.
With that, we're going to move on to Finance Committee updates. Chairman Gadil.
Mr. Vice President, we had a meeting last week. Finance, we reviewed a few contracts, and we're going to be presenting that when it gets to that. But that session.
Health and wellness.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. So we had our Health and Awareness Committee on November 29, and we had our subcommittee set up on their goals and what they are planning to achieve for next year. And also we had all youth from Central High School and also two kids, one kid from the Classical High School. They currently joined the working group that we created to our Health and Awareness Committee for the mental health thing. And also we asked the district, Julie, to create an application form to be sent to the community members that are interested to join this working group. The idea is we're going to be meeting with teachers and students at Central High School to create the mental health fair next month and work with the help of the district. And we're supposed to have a guest speaker to talk about the benefit of physical activity and sport and recreations. The speaker wasn't able to come, but we had a presentation on sexual and reproductive health education. I just want to share this. According to Rhode Island laws, all schools in Rhode Island are required to teach sex education. So what I've been working with our subcommittee, we created a working group to update and also to create a comprehensive health curriculum to work for the district. And also we have one of the things that we're very excited about next month, we're going to have smart clinics to come to the report what they've been doing in the districts and in general.
Thank you. Thank you. Next is, so CTE updates. Our next meeting is Monday, December 18th. I do have a couple of updates to the board to know. CTE hosted a summer certified nursing assistant program at the Rhode Nursing Education Center in partnership with CCRI. The first member of the cohort to pass her state exam is senior student Joyce Souza Valera. From Alvarez High School. She is ready for a license as a CNA in the state of Rhode Island. So congratulations to her. PCTA HVAC Plumbing 2023 graduate Ashley Morales was just accepted in the North Atlantic Carpenters Union. Ashley interned at Reagan HVAC and participated in a Rhode Island Women in Trades training program. So congratulations to Ashley. PCTA General Construction 2023 graduate Jonathan Torres and CTE After Hours Gen Program Central High School 2023 graduate David Morales, I guess not to be confused with our representative, are on site working for the Laborers Union Liuna just months after graduation. So congratulations to them. And a few announcements regarding the 8th grade application process. The CT online application for 8th graders will open on January 2nd and close on January 12th. There are 25 amazing CT programs in 7 high schools. The CT website has lots of information. You can go to providenceschools.org, OCTE, and also the CT office will be at the PCTA cafeteria on Tuesday, January 9th from 4 to 8 p.m. to support students and families with any questions about CT programs or the application process. Families can also reach out to Let's Talk for support. So that's what I have for CTE. Next up is school board committee updates.
Thank you, Vice President. The building committee met yesterday, reviewed the plan that superintendent referenced in his comments, stating that we are on track to have 50% of students in new or like new facilities by 2028, and now through the new $400 million bond proposed to get 100% of PPSD students in new or like new buildings by 2030. The mechanics of how that works is that the state reimburses 91% of all of the money spent on the schools, leaving only 9% for the city to pay, and the city is able to offset that $9 million with improvements in energy expenses, basically according to the plan, leaving Providence taxpayers with zero impact. If this bond of $400 million is approved, I believe next by the General Assembly, all projects have to be approved by RIDE in at least proposal-wise by June, I believe, which is why the timing is important. We also reviewed the mechanics of what's called the revolving fund, which is a capital fund that supports small capital projects, repairs, and maintenance and things like that. And also, reviewed that money is the size of that fund is currently around $6 million. It's spent in full and then replenished at 91% every year, which means that over time the revolving fund is depleting, and is a subject probably that the board and maybe the finance committee should review in the future regarding how to make sure that the revolving fund maintains adequate supplies to maintain our buildings effectively. And that's all.
Thank you. With that, we're going to move to 8.1, review of homeschool candidates.
Good evening. Tonight I present to you our homeschool candidates for the month of December. They've met the requirements of Rhode Island general law as it pertains to homeschooling, and they also met the requirements based on our school board policy. We also sent you the information.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Any questions? No questions?
They should,
Oh,
sorry,
we
Mr.
got to
Chair.
do a motion for this?
Yeah, we should do a motion to approve the homeschool candidate
Thank you.
recommendation.
So I'll take a motion to approve the homeschool candidate.
Motion.
Motion. Second. Any discussion on this? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, motion passes. Thank you. Next is CTE admissions, final read and adoption. Can I get a motion to approve?
Motion.
Second, any discussion on this? This is the final read. We've been through the CTE admissions policy. There's been no further discussion. All those in favor of approving the policy say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Abstentions, motion passes. Next motion is the CTE work-based learning policy. Can I get a motion to approve this final read and adoption?
Motion.
Motion, a second.
Second.
Any discussion on that? With no further discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Abstentions, motion passes. Next one is the student incident communication policy, final read and adoption. Can I get a motion, please? Motion, can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion on the student incident communication policy? Hearing no discussion, all those in favor of approving the policy say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Abstention, motion passes. Next item on our agenda is the school board code of conduct. I will pause here because this is the first read. School board code of conduct is a set of guidelines and principles for school board members. I think would be helpful for any future iteration of school board. I think it's certainly something that should have already been included in terms of like onboarding school board members. So we discussed at the policy committee, I believe that was going to be a follow-up on regulations, Andrea. So I believe that I was emailed that. We'll put it out to the rest of the board on that as well. But I will entertain a motion of school board for the conduct.
Motion.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Discussion.
Really quick, what do we expect in the regulations?
So I've got it. We can make sure that you're giving it tonight.
Okay.
Tonight, yeah. Any further discussion on the school board code of conduct? With no further discussion, all in favor of the school board code of conduct policy say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Abstention, motion passes. Next is report on contracts. And the first contract is in structure. So,
Mr. Vice President, we had a meeting and 10.1, we are okay with recommending that for tonight's approval.
Okay.
And the second one, we had a lot of questions and follow-up questions. We had 2 of the members in favor and 1 abstention, but we requested 4 follow-up questions, getting some information, especially from Ms. Tony Akin, and we got responses, and we feel comfortable recommending that for passage tonight.
Well, let's take care of structure first. So can I get a motion to pass in structure? Motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor of approving contracts, say aye. All opposed, say no. Abstention, motion passes. And then you're saying the next one, there were some questions, probably is the technology.
Yeah.
Correct. Anything else you want to state so other than you feel comfortable approving?
Yes, Mr. Akin.
Thank you, Chairman. The Partners Technology contract we reviewed in depth is related to the communications and the telephones and the speaker equipment that will unify all communications across the school district. We did have some questions and follow-up questions that were asked, upon review of additional documentation. And at this point, I am satisfied as well with that information and have approved accordingly.
With that, can I get a motion to approve Partners Technology?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Discussion. Hearing no discussion, can I get a vote to approve Partners Technology? I mean, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Aye. All in favor say aye. All opposed say no. Abstention. Motion passes. Thank you for that. Oh no, budget process update. That's very important. So yeah, folks that are here to present the budget. You got any good news for us?
I was gonna say, nothing clears out the room like a budget presentation, so. But in all seriousness, we are here in front of you to talk about the FY '25 budget, well in advance of what we typically do. We're often in front of you in the spring, but knowing how next year will be a challenging year, not just for Providence, but for many school districts, we wanted to start the conversation in the planning process. So we were with the finance committee last month where we shared similar information. We have a few updates, but knowing that this frankly is going to be an ongoing conversation that we have throughout this year as we prepare for the following year. So big picture, when we think of key takeaways for today, as I kind of already said, next year we do anticipate being a challenging financial year for the district, and not necessarily just in Providence, but across the country. So a number of things are coming together to create that situation, both declining enrollments across the country, increased student needs, and we'll talk about how these are kind of specifically impacting Providence, and also the expiration of stimulus dollars that expire in September 2024. So go back, sorry. So we are starting to plan earlier, and we'll share a little bit about how our budgeting process has changed over the past few years to we believe help with transparency and equity in how funds are spent. And so part of that is making sure we are all prepared for the difficult trade-offs that we will likely face in the year ahead. So go to the next slide. So this is a kind of big picture when we look on both the revenues and expenses for PPSD. And we'll talk through both what happens annually and what we deal with and how this year in particular is unique. So on the revenue side, state aid is typically 2/3 of our budget. We'll spend more of that in a second. And it has grown considerably over the past decade or so at around $8 or so million a year. This year, we do anticipate it being relatively flat. That is in part due to declining enrollment, but also some of the hold harmless provisions that the state has enacted across Rhode Island to address declining enrollment in the state. City aid has also been uncertain over the past several years and continues to do so. We are in active mediation with the city on the current fiscal year, and we know that means potential uncertainty for the following fiscal year. What is unique for this year is a significant decline in stimulus funding. So we have had 3 rounds of stimulus. We'll see is ESSER funding, excuse me, ESSER 1, 2, and 3. ESSER 1 and ESSER 2 have both been fully expended. ESSER 3 is when we last reported in November, has roughly half of it has been spent, with the remaining half to be spent by September 2024. It's fully obligated, and we have no concerns about all those funds being spent. So that's on the revenue side. When you look at the expense side, as a district where 75% of our budget is in people, and even the standard growth of our cost base, if you think of kind of cost of living increases, is 2 to 3%. So on a $400 million budget, that annual expected growth is roughly $8 to $10 million. We also adjust our expenses based on enrollment, whether it goes up or down. And so we'll increase or decrease staffing to adjust against those standard expense growths. What is unique to this year? We've seen extremely large increases in student needs, particularly in the area of specialized instruction and differently abled students. And we also know we've seen some strong positive impact on our through our stimulus dollars that we want to continue and sustain as long as we can.
So, a quick question, Nick, just to confirm last point, the increase in students needing specialized services out of district, the district is not able to meet the needs of those students, yet we have to fund the needs of the students in other districts.
Correct. So, and we'll show the actual graph, like some of the data behind it, but for out-of-district placements are students, typically differently able students with severe special needs that we are unable to support in district. I would say what's compounded that is one, that we've seen a significant increase with students coming in with those needs, as well as deeper challenges in finding staff to fill those roles. So those have compounded to a higher number of students that are placed out of district for special needs. So you take that all together, and obviously on the revenue side, relatively flat with some uncertainty and a decline in ESSER. Some standard expense growth with some increases in specific areas leads to kind of all taken together some challenges on our financial picture for next year. So to dive in a little deeper onto the revenue side. So our state aid accounts for roughly 2/3 of our budget. It is relatively predictable based on enrollment. So as enrollment has changed and declined, we have seen some decreases in enrollment. We also know it lags in certain areas, so it is based on the counts for the current year. So when we do things like expand pre-K, you don't see that revenue for those students until the following year because they do not show up on, when we launch those programs, they aren't currently on our rolls. On the city aids, our portion is a smaller portion of the district's budget, roughly 1/3, but over the past few years, it's been highly unpredictable. There is an obligation on the city's part to increase contributions to the district as part of the Crowley Act, though we have kind of had disagreements with the prior administration on that. I've been working with the current administration to put that together. So on the local budget side, again, revenue-wise, we are seeing relatively flat, though a high level of uncertainty on the city side. To talk through where we're seeing increases in student needs. So two areas I want to highlight, both our special education population as well as multilingual learner students. So when you look at the left-hand side, you'll see out-of-district placements over the past several years. And you'll see we've seen roughly a 23% increase since 2019, 2020. That is, again, fueled by far more students coming into the district with significant needs. We know, particularly in our early childhood area, that we are having students who did not receive early intervention when they were 1-year-old, 2-year-old, or 3-year-olds, that they typically would. And so when they come to us in Providence, they are often significantly behind their peers. This has led to, compounded by a teacher shortage in high need areas, has resulted in a larger number of students being placed out of the district. When we look at multilingual learners, this is not necessarily a recent trend or related to the pandemic, but I think it is important to underscore how we continue to serve a diverse student body, with an increasingly high percentage of students who are multilingual learners. So we, in school year 2015, we were roughly at 20%. We are now at nearly 40%, which is almost double the urban core average in Rhode Island and far more than twice the Rhode Island state average. I think it's also important to look at peer districts, other urban districts, whether that's Massachusetts, Connecticut, or New York, and we far surpass the percentage of multilingual learners that they have. And we know what we're proud of is some of this is the success we've had in supporting our multilingual learners, the steps our teachers have taken to dramatically increase those with ESL certifications. It's all been a focus of the district, but we know we need to provide additional supports to students who are multilingual learners, and therefore it comes with additional funding and expenses to the district. So again, we're in the early stages of planning for our budget, but when you take kind of big picture numbers together, we see on the revenue side either flat revenue or potential reductions in revenue based on uncertainty on the city and state aid. When you look at expenses growing typically at 8 to 10 million and some spikes, particularly around supporting specialized students that are differently able, either through out-district placements or growing the number of classrooms we have an anticipated initial shortfall of roughly $15 to $30 million for this coming year. Obviously, big numbers, and I think what is also problematic is that range, right? It is one thing to address a large shortfall. It's another type of plan for a wide range, and again, that is why we are working to plan early, so we know when decisions need to be made to address those challenges over the coming year. So just to walk you through some of our initial thought process, and then we'll talk through some timelines before we open up for questions. So the first is to really take a hard look at those investments we've made over the past few years, whether that was through our local budget or title budget, so things we've made in guidance counselors, assistant principals, social workers, as well as investments we've made recently through stimulus dollars, and identifying those that we want to continue in the upcoming year. Some of those decisions we can make at a district level, but through our student-based budgeting model, which I'll talk through shortly, it also allows principals to make more of those decisions at the school level to align to the needs of the students in their building and to their school communities. So I'll take a moment just to, I think we've talked with the board a few times about student-based budgeting, but it is relatively new to Providence, so I thought I would share a little bit more about how it works. So student-based budgeting is a dramatically different way to allocate funds and have schools build their budgets than we've had historically. So historically, we typically had funds that were provided to schools via staff. So central office would assign a certain number of staff to each school, and then schools would have a small amount of discretionary funds to build their budget. What we found is oftentimes you might have schools that either have the same enrollment but very different student needs or different levels of enrollment, and the staffing wouldn't always be equitable among those schools. So a few of the key hallmarks of student-based budgeting is, one, it allows you to allocate funds to schools equitably. So you identify different student populations and allocate funds based on different student weights that connect with known student needs. It is more transparent. So you see there's a formula that is allocated to schools so they can know what to expect year after year and understand why they receive the funds that they do. And it also provides school leaders with more autonomy. So rather than being allocated a complement of staff, they now have some more control and authority over deciding which positions are in their school. I'm happy to talk through the mechanics more in depth, but in short, every school receives a base level of funding that they need to operate their school. Every student receives funding that is aligned with how much it takes to staff a classroom, staff a front office, and things like that. And then there are nuances for student weights. So there's additional weights for multilingual learners, differently abled students, as those students require additional resources. We take that all together, and that allows us then to allocate funds out to schools who then build their budgets based on the input from their school community. So first step, identifying those investments we want to sustain. Next is then identifying potential areas for cost savings. So given the range of issues, we know that we need to think creatively and put all options on the table. So several opportunities to highlight that are under consideration would be reduction in central office and school support positions, prioritizing those that do not have a direct impact, don't provide direct support to students, considering shared resources across smaller schools, identifying efficiencies in operations, including transportation, and then looking and identifying redundancies in any staffing or in systems or platforms that we have. And then third, obviously, as you look to identify cost savings, the other is looking to increase revenue in certain areas. So that is both through seeking grants and other things that can support funding for the district, but also providing, advocating for adequate funding, both from the city and the state, to support the student populations of PPSD. So I'll close, I think, maybe just one more slide to talk through, which is a rough timeline. Again, we are early in this process, but we expect to be back with you over the course of the year as we get more information and as more decisions come to bear. So to click to the next slide. So you'll see we're kind of in those first two boxes of doing initial enrollment projections, revenue projections, and expense projections. We're starting to identify potential areas for reductions. We'll then be working in December and January with our schools as they build their school budgets before making kind of final budget decisions in February, March, and April. So happy to talk through that, knowing there's a lot we've thought about and planned for, but there's plenty that will be coming up in the coming months. So happy to pause and answer any questions that you have.
Congressman, questions?
Yes. Slide 9. Can we go to slide 9 really quick? Now, when it says reducing central office and school support positions, and then it says minimizing impacts to direct student services, is that the department, or you're just saying students as a whole?
Yeah, so very good question. So the idea being that when we have to make reductions in central office at the school level, we want to make, reduce in areas that have, that do not have a direct impact on students. So not that student services, the department itself, yeah.
Okay, and then I had to step out and take a call. I wanted to know, on this presentation, I haven't had the chance to look at it. Does it say anything about the release of like individual teachers again, teacher consolidations and that?
No, so the typical process is schools will build their budgets and staffing plans in January and February. Then by late February, we would have, and this wouldn't be unique to this year, we do consolidations. And at that point, we would know the size and the number of people that would be consolidated or displaced from their positions. That typically happens at the end of February.
Thank you.
Yes.
In regards to the ESSER funds expiring September 2024, can you confirm that's also when the funds need to be spent by?
Yeah, Mr. DC can.
Yeah, so all the funds need to be encumbered by 9/30/2024, and then we start our reporting process within 60 days after that. So it's not that the cash has to leave by 9/30, but they have to be claimed for and encumbered by 9/30.
And they have to be spent by the end of the fiscal year, or
No, it's,
as long as they're encumbered?
they are planned and encumbered by 9/30/2024.
To share with them, you can correct me on this, that would mean we've bought computers, they've come in, but we haven't paid the bills. Not that we could say, we have a plan to pay these individuals for the next 6 months, like, you cannot, it won't be on salaries, it would be on like supplies that you're waiting to kind of close your books on.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Other questions?
I have a question. So, at the beginning of every school year, we finalize a budget, a balanced budget. Is that just, I guess, a matter of practice? Is it a matter of law?
State law.
State law.
You have to adopt a balanced budget.
You have to adopt a balanced budget. Okay. And then in the case that I'm sure this has happened in the past, in some way, you adopted a balanced budget and you get to the end of the year and you're showing a deficit. But functionally, what happens at that point?
Historically.
Yeah, I mean, I will say, historically, when we were a full-fledged city department, the city was responsible for covering any deficit that we would run as a city department. Right, and they would also take any surplus that we have. Now, that is not the case anymore. That's in part why several years ago when we shut down schools during the pandemic, we had money set aside to help reopen. Fortunately, we didn't have to spend it because of ESSER dollars, so we do have a set aside reserve funds that could help in the event that we would ever run a deficit.
Okay, so what kind of reserve funds do we have?
It's roughly $10 million. Yeah, $10 million.
It's around $10 million.
So less than,
Yeah, so it's good practices to have about 3% of your total operating budget to have reserves. Most districts around the Northeast and Northern country have that reserves to
built into the budget.
Not built in, just as a side fund, just in case just in case adversity. So boiler breaks, you have a roof repair, you have unplanned expenditures, you have a big influx of students registering in early August and September. We have to hire those teachers, but those teachers aren't budgeted for. So that's some of how you would run a deficit and use some of those reserve funds for. So it's not good practice to budget those reserve funds as revenue because it's not just budget practice.
So, and then just, not to can of words, but like looking forward to the end of the 2023-2024 school year, are we anticipating a deficit at the end of this year?
so the main driver of that, I think we're tracking our expenses closely. We have some areas where we have seen the higher expense growth. So the out-of-district placement, not just for next year, but within this year, we've seen some. But we've also seen some areas where we're trending better. So unfortunately, because of some of the vacancies we have, that's meant less spending on salary. So that roughly nets out. I think the area that might cause more challenges in terms of a deficit for this year would be city aid and not kind of achieving the amount we thought we would receive when we built our budget.
So then, and maybe this is a can of worms too, but if the city isn't necessarily meeting the district's entire needs or the entire obligation as the district or right understands it for city funding, can the board play a constructive role in this area as far as collaborating with the district to negotiate with the city about the entirety of the obligation?
It's a good question. So, I mean, some of this was that we are in mediation with the city. I was actually at mediation with the city today about it. So it's not, I don't think it would be helpful to be there. I mean, I think trying to represent what, the needs that we have, because I think sometimes that there's this isn't necessarily true of the city in particular, but a wondering about, do they actually need this money? They can probably do without it. I think the more people can kind of express, no, they actually do, that is helpful. But so that type of advocacy is helpful. I don't know if it would be a role in that negotiating necessarily, but in terms of advocacy
Advocacy is a better word, yeah.
And, I remember what you just said. When this was presented to us last month at the Finance Committee, you were supposed to have a meeting at the city hall next week. How has that changed what you are presenting tonight? Has any impact on that? Because one of the things that was mentioned is how can we advocate with the city in terms of making sure that this needs of our students and it has to be met. It's not like, so we're not just showcasing things, we want to give them what is needed. And if we want quality, we have to be able to deliver with that. So like it's not putting pressure on the city, but just letting them know how important it is. And if it requires some input from the school board, I don't know if there's anything that's changed from that, because I know we asked that question and we made that request. So can you give us an update on that?
Yeah, I unfortunately would say I don't think it's changed a ton. So I forget when we were, the timing of when we were with the finance committee, but we then presented to city council finance again to explain kind of our budget from this past year and this coming year. And then those mediation sessions have happened a few times. I think what we've impressed upon them is it is coming to the point in the middle of the year where there's only so much you can do to change, right? So we're gonna have to take steps to make sure we have a balanced budget, but that is not a ton of change from last year.
Any other questions, comments from school board members?
In terms of the increasing revenue, item number 3, what measures will you be taking to try to do so?
Yeah, I would say, so a few. One is just been continue seeking different grants that we've that can help support the district. So we had one, we recently were awarded on leadership development to continue that work. The second is working closely with in the section area. I don't know if advocacy helps, but to go down a little bit of a rabbit hole, a big portion of our state aid is driven by our percent of students who qualify for free and reduced lunch. What has changed over the past few years is the way that is calculated is based on what they call direct certification by the Department of Health and Human Services. So that is the number, like families who use SNAP or other public benefits. Those are then matched with our students, and then that they use a multiplier to calculate our free and reduced lunch percentage. And that this year currently stands at 76%, which is like nowhere near reality of what the kind of levels of poverty we have in Providence. Historically, when it was certified through the collection of lunch forms, it was in 10% higher, so like 86%.
And we know that didn't represent the numbers that we had. So we know that was low, but it was always difficult to collect those verification forms from the students. But, it was not perfect science, but at least it was higher than the 76%.
So roughly every 1% of FR free and reduced lunch is $1 million. So it's a huge swing. So in terms of advocacy, there's applying for grants, and then they're saying like, hey, colleagues at the state, at RIDE, like this is a problem not just for Providence, it's going to be a problem for every other district. How can we address this? Because it's by no means do we think poverty has gone down by 10% in the city of Providence, and it's just that is a huge driver. So those are the types of things we're doing, not just on the applying for grants, but how we identify all the different ways we can ensure we're getting the funds we as a district deserve.
So in terms of increasing revenue, I think a couple of options that have been suggested in the past, but I don't know if they've been explored. One of them is the grants that I keep mentioning, and that is said they're working on it. I don't know if there's anything that has been made so far that you want to report, or you're still working on it. The other part is that I believe that when we're looking for revenue, it's not that we're looking for the dollar value, or we can, reciprocate that in terms of services. We have colleges in Providence that we can, we don't necessarily have to ask them for money, but they can give us services that is equivalent to what would, in terms of being a reduced cost, of which is going to be impact eventually would be. And we explored that. I believe I've spoken with your Brett Smiley on one-on-one that I think we should tap that resource. There's some services that, we have them here, and they're operating in the city of Providence. I think if we have a one-on-one with them, okay, if they're donating computer services, that will reduce the cost that we have to spend on computer services, on information technology. If they are donating some services, that will reduce what we have to spend, and in turn, that will create revenue. Please, the superintendent and Mr. Scott, I think we need to put more pressure on that, because now, from what you presented, we're looking at 30 million and 15 to 20 million shortfalls. And I did, remember I said that I appreciate that we are learning about it, telling the district about it early enough, so that we can plan ahead for it. But it's not only informing us, it's all good at the proactive steps we need to take. And I think this one is going to be part of it. If we're looking for $1 million and we get 100,000, it's no longer $1 million. It has to reduce. So little here and up over there, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what you want to do. I don't know if you need the help of the school board in shaping some things that will, give us some reduced costs, which will amount to increase in revenue. Please let us explore that. I am just appealing. And I know you're trying, but I just, if we come up with some suggestions and everything, let us just put them into use. Don't let us just ignore them and say, okay, we're going to go our way. But, we're here to think together so that we can achieve the same objective. Thank you.
If, let's say I have $1,000 and I want to donate specifically to Central High School, how would I go about?
Donating $1,000 to Central High School?
Let's say if I'm the Central High School alone, I got a bonus, I want to put $1,000.
Yeah, so that number, it all depends if there's specificities on that $1,000 or it's paid out.
Generally Central High School. I just want Sports Central.
Sure. So that number would, you write the check to Providence School Department, we would deposit in an account, we would set up an activity code for Central High School, and all those expenditures would be put against that $1,000.
I would encourage the district to create a fundraising stream for folks to be able to donate to schools, whether it's an online system. You never know what you can get. I think we need to open it up for a community, for alums. I mean, even if it's $50,000 a school fundraise, that's $50,000 to new revenue, right? Stuff you had out. I think every individual school can have a little bit of a fundraising strategy, and I see folks go on the street and they're trying to get donations for football, right, or basketball, or sports. Why can't that be online? Why can't that be something through the school district? If there's ways to be able to make that happen and let our collective communities know about it, I think that's just helpful. And also, you never know what type of revenue you may get. So I think if it's difficult to get money, this is actually pretty. I never thought about this, but if it's difficult to get money, right, then you're just leaving potential opportunities on the table. So if there's ways that the school board could be helpful on that, I think having a concrete, comprehensive fundraising strategy for schools would be beneficial. The second thing, every single time, every year that we have these conversations, go on a tangent on advocacy. I'd like to see an advocacy plan. I'd like to know who's every Providence delegation member should get a meeting, should get this presentation, should understand, and really just be unified when they're talking. And really now, right? They're about to go into January. They're going to have conversations with their leadership about what their big priorities are. We need to make sure our Providence delegation knows that there's this issue coming, and whether that's advocating for MLL, the stuff that they put there, I think that's important. So I would really appreciate a plan. So when are we meeting? Who's meeting with the speaker? Who's meeting with the Senate president? Who's meeting with the governor in terms of these aspects? Where does the board play into that situation? I'd like for the board to be unified in testifying at budget hearings around defending advocacy measures. But I think we need a concrete plan, tied into communications. I don't want to see something like, oh yeah, we are meeting with people. But I want to know what the strategy is, because if we know what the strategy is, then the board can play a role with that.
Okay, makes sense.
Any other questions? Thank you for your time. Presentation.
Happy holidays.
Everyone asked Santa for more money for Providence. And with that, executive session that's not going to happen today. So we're going to strike out 12.0 and 13.0. We're going to go to adjournment. Can I get a motion to adjourn? Motion. Second. All in favor of adjourning the meeting, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say no. Abstention. Motion passes. Good night, everybody.
Yes, sir.